Hey everybody, how are you? Everybody can hear me? Okay? Okay, cool, we're ready. Well, I'm humbled to be here. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, B&H, Lexar for sponsoring me for this program. As Lindsay said, my name is Brian Marcus. I am the third generation of Fred Marcus Studio. Our business, my grandfather was a Holocaust survivor, came over with very little, started a portrait studio in the basement of our office that we're actually in now. And we have been there ever since. My father, he went from being a portrait studio to actually building a business that photographed over 100 events in the 50s and 60s. My father got involved. We were at one point doing close to 800 weddings a year, and really one of the few high-end studios in the country, I would say, for weddings. I just listened to the unbelievable Jerry Gahonis, and I think his first statement was true. You know, wedding photographers are not glorified like others. But if you're somebody like me who's really grown up in this business, you realize how important what we do actually is. And I came into the business about 17 years ago. I lived in California for a little bit and then came to New York. And you know, the interesting thing as I was putting together this program was that, like you guys, and I assume since you're here, you're obviously willing to learn. When I came into the business, there were 3 photographers that Fred Marcus Studio, really competed with, 3 studios. And so a bride and groom would walk into my office, we would sit down and, I'd throw out the sales pitch and show them the work. And I'd say, who else have you seen? And it would always be the same 3 photographers every time. And so it kept my arena of competition quite small, which I really liked. And as things have progressed and evolved in our business, as digital came into play, I started in the film world, you realize how vulnerable, especially a business like this, actually can become. So in building the program today, it's a 180 from what you just saw, which was fabulous. This is more about business, about connecting with vendors, about how I sort of reinvented what we always were used to build our business into the 3rd generation. And so now we have a beautiful studio on the Upper West Side. This behind me, I always start every program that I do with my grandfather's portrait. It inspires me. My grandfather really built the core of our business, and people still talk about him today. I actually photograph weddings that my grandfather did the grandparents' wedding. This past weekend I did a wedding here in New York City where my grandfather did the grandparents' wedding, my father did the parents' wedding, and I'm doing the kids' wedding. And it's really an amazing thing that our world really revolves around that type of clientele. And there's something to be said about the relationships that we've formed with our clients, and that's what I'm really going to try to get to today. Hopefully teach you a few tips on how to connect with more vendors, party planners, florists, and also get into the social media aspect of what we do. I will tell you, you're looking at me here, I can't see most of you, but I am a 3rd generation photographer. I did come into this business with a really nice clientele. It almost makes it, most of you would think of that as an advantage. It almost makes it more difficult because there was a lot of pressure on my shoulders to sort of take this farther into the 3rd generation. And my father, who still shoots a little bit, has slowed down a bit. People change. Photographers have tried to go out on their own and build their own businesses. And for me, there was a lot more pressure than you'd think. I had to utilize the base of business that I had and really grow into the next generation where we are now. So I just wanted to start off by showing you a few photographs of our studio on the Upper West Side here. We do create a very friendly, warm environment for our clients. There's places to sit and chat, do albums, order photos, and for sales pitches, I don't recommend sitting at a Starbucks. There's a lot of cool things. Actually, one of my clients is one of the guys who created this WeWork company. I'm sure most of you have heard about WeWork. That's a great idea if you're just getting into the business. To find a small office space in that type of environment to sell your work is, in my opinion, much nicer than maybe going to a coffee shop or a restaurant. So we have this beautiful office. I have 10 employees that come in every day. If I'm gonna charge the numbers that we hope to charge, I have to create an environment where when my clients walk in, they feel like they're in a department store, they're in a beautiful boutique, et cetera. And so this gives us that high level of quality that people eventually, once they go through the photographs, will, they might spend the extra money because of the fact that we pay attention to the details. So again, as I'm building this program, I started 17 years ago. So I'm in the same boat as most of you. By a hand raise, how many people use the social media outlets that are behind on my screen? I'm sure everybody. How many people are still pushing and learning every day on how to use these things better? This is something that I'm turning 40 this year, and I'm still learning every single day on how to utilize these tools to our advantage. Remember when they first came out, you were like, I don't know if this is for me. I'm not sure my clients are gonna really pay attention to this type of stuff. I'm not sure really how to do this, so I'm gonna ignore it. And it took about a couple years, but I realized how important these tools are. So I'm gonna get into sort of how we structure our business in terms of our visuals to connect not only with vendors, but also to connect on all these platforms. So it sort of looks like this one round 360 that's all connected together. So before I do that, one of my favorite quotes, I'm a big fan of this author, Seth Godin. And if you read this, or I'll read it to you, a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that taken together account for consumers' decision to choose one service over another. So I know text is boring and pictures are beautiful, but let's think about this for a second. If you compare a local coffee shop, I'm a big coffee guy, and you compare that to a Starbucks, there's a reason why I go to my local coffee shop. Let's talk about it from the get-go. I open the door, I walk in, what happens? They say, hey, Brian. They know exactly who I am. They know my coffee, they know what type of coffee I like, they know me, they care about me as a client. If I go to Starbucks, which by the way is losing an incredible amount of market share, and it's weird because I was in one the other day and I was like, this isn't the same place that I used to be. Everybody else goes to Starbucks. And so when you go into Fred Marcus' studio, there is an experience that you're about to have. And with all of you sitting here, I recommend when you sit down with your client, 50% of them want to see your creativity and your photography. The other 50% of them want to get to know you as a person. And I know you only have a half hour to an hour to do that, but you got to think about giving them an experience that they'll remember. And when they walk out, not only do they say, I really like their work, but I really like them. Being with these clients on a portrait shoot, no matter what you do, portrait shoot, wedding, et cetera. I'm sure, Lindsay, you can attest that when you have these big corporate clients or models and brands, you have to connect with the models that day. It makes sense to sit down with them for 20 minutes before you shoot and discuss the process and how you do it and how it's gonna work and how you're gonna pose and just do this and when you breathe, do this or close, all these little things. I do the same thing with my clients even before they've hired me. So when they leave my studio, there's a sense of who I am, how talented our photographers are, and our experience. So you want to create an experience that people remember. Now, as Lindsay told you and I told you, my studio, Fred Marcus, has a story, and I use that story all the time. So you got to find what your story is. Where'd you come from? Where'd you study? What are the things that you like outside of photography, and utilize them during the actual client-to-client meeting. So, for example, the third generation business. I talk about where we came from, where we're going. Exactly what I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing with them. They want to know more about you, about your business. I saw a young lady, when Lindsay said 77 years, this young lady right here said, wow, right? You said that. That's the type of reaction that I want instantly. Within the first second, if I say that, I've sort of hooked them into listening more to me than maybe if I didn't have that story. That blends into experience. How much experience are you going to share with them? How long have your photographers been working there? Do you use assistants? Do you have customer service, which is my next line down there, which is, okay, what happens after you take the photos? Most of you probably don't want to deal with with clients after the weddings. That's all I want to do. That takes up probably 60% of our revenue is from orders after the wedding. Most photographers that get into the biz these days, they take their photographs, they put them on a hard drive, and they say, you know what? If you need me, call me. Other than that, I'll give you a list of album places to go to. You can go to Kinko. They have there's no care there about the quality of the work. How's it going to look on your walls? When I start telling my clients that, although of course I'll give them stuff for their Instagram and social media and to share, I really press the value of the experience we have. And if you're going to end up putting an 8x10 on your end table or giving a gift to one of your friends or your family members, it's got to look good. It's okay to spend money in order to do that. You want it to be something that they remember, as Jerry was talking as well. And then technology. Technology as it's come about. I started, there wasn't much. There was a website. Now we have all those social media outlets and so much other software out there to help us as photographers. How do you combine all that technology, all those assets, and make it fly for you? How do you combine it so that your company can utilize those things to make more money than you're making now? Like I said before, these brides and grooms, they choose photographers, not just your photographs. Remember that, okay? Remember that. So if you're somebody here, how many people are in the wedding business here? Okay, great. So if you're starting out in the wedding business, you gotta work for free. Okay, I have photographers come, I know that sounds crazy, but I have photographers come into my office every day, and the ones that ask me what they're getting paid, I never call back. And the reason why is because I've been in this business now 17 years. My family's been in it for a very long time. I'm not looking to get free work, but what I want is somebody who's gonna come to the job, connect with what we do, learn a little bit, and realize that this is a process. It starts at ground zero, it ends up where hopefully they're shooting 50 weddings a year for us, but it's gotta start somewhere. And so if anybody is sitting here thinking about, how do I connect with some of these bigger studios? With my studio, if you're a great photographer, call me tomorrow. I'll have you come in, we'll sit down, I'll look at your portfolio, and then let's go to a job. Let's go to 2 jobs. Let me see how you are with my clients. Let's see if you really can absorb what we do, and then show me your work. If the work is good, we'll start as an assistant. If the work is great, we'll get you shooting right away, and then I want to see the commitment. So anybody here starting off, if you're looking to work for a studio or with another photographer, you gotta really give some time to that person and really show how much you're committed. I have 5 photographers, not including myself and my father. Those 5 photographers probably worked as an assistant for over a year, and now they're making clear 6 figures, sometimes $200,000, $250,000 a year, plus everything else that they do. So it's something that if you give the photographer, the studio your time, it will pay back in folds. The network that we've created, okay, and everybody's seen these names behind me. It's crucial that you guys start organizing a network of people in your business, okay, at different levels. So there are florists, there are party planners, there are cake designers, DJs, bands, lighting guys, invitations. In fact, the wedding business is set up now that we have social media to really promote your work everywhere along the line. You just have to connect with these people and for free, share your work, share your content with them, get it out there, create lists of these people. The day that you work, know exactly who you're working with. So after the job, you're sending these images around so that they can use them on their platforms that people eventually see, they give you a call, and hopefully you have an opportunity to book the party. As a photographer, and it's kind of funny that Jerry came up before me. I also invented a light. It's called, and this is not a plug, but in order for the florists and the lighting people and the venues to say, wow, this photographer is amazing, you got to take better pictures than the guy that was there last week. It's plain and simple. How do you do that? It really is pretty simple. I use a tripod. I use, obviously, different lenses on my camera, and I use something called the GL1 hot light, which is behind me. And what that does is, back in the day when I started, my dad, I thought I was being punished every Saturday. My dad used to tell me, pop in all the tape. I don't know how long you guys have been in the business, but I used to take a Lumadyne. This gentleman's smiling at me. Take a Lumadyne and run like there was no tomorrow, and literally pop in every single centerpiece on a table. Now, think about this. We do quite large weddings. There's 300 people, 400 people. That's 40 tables to pop in 30 seconds. And we used to take our hand and cover the lens and say, go, go, go. And now that all goes away. And I have this unbelievably powerful LED hot light. It's totally wireless, and you can actually zoom it in to be a spotlight. And my assistant stands there and paints in all of the dark shadows and details that I want to bring out in my photos. So I'll show you a little bit of the types of weddings we do. Now, my clients, thank God, spend a lot of money. There is a budget there for photography, obviously. It's a fraction of what they're spending. This chuppah at this Jewish wedding behind me probably costs triple what the photography costs, just the chuppah, so in flowers. So every single detail you're seeing behind me, I hope it looks good, every time you see something illuminated or that detail filled in, it's all because of that light. I'm telling you, it's a camera, a tripod. I usually set my camera to 100 ISO because I'd like to blow these photos up for the vendors and put them on their walls so that they're really clear and beautiful. And see, if you see the card table behind me, the detail is brought out in those flowers by just illuminating whatever I see as darker. And in the picture, and you get a hang of it, you do it a few times, you get a hang of it. In the photo, the reason why they're so clear and sharp, and you see the detail in the chairs and the couch in front of you right here, is because I've taken one step farther and illuminated these things with that hot light. Same thing with the bride here. I mean, these are massive rooms that these people are spending a fortune on. And I gotta take beautiful photographs to make sure that the vendors get what they need and they can promote this at the next event. This was a wedding I just did literally this past summer in the Hamptons. I have no idea how much money they spent on this wedding. It was absurd, but we love those people, right? Like, we can walk into an event and shake our heads and be like, oh my God, I cannot believe how much cash they put down on this. But in essence, those are the kind of clients that we need. We want those people. And so you gotta do whatever you can to really, and this is all the same wedding now, to promote this type of stuff. Wow, Fred Marcus Studio, look at the types of weddings these people do. But it's not about what they do. It's about look at the type of clients that trust them to capture these types of events, right? So for us, it's all about the images, but for the client coming in, when they see this stuff and it's promoted the right way, you're getting this level of trust that you can't really find elsewhere. And so I probably spend it seems like we do a lot, but about 15 minutes max on taking photographs of the room. And that's another thing. Anybody who's done weddings here, I mean, how many people, by a show of hands, when you walk into that ballroom and there's like 10 minutes before the cocktail hour is finished and the room, they're still lighting the candles and you're like, I don't understand what's going on here. These people spend $500,000 or whatever they spend, even if it's $10,000 on a room, you gotta give me 5 minutes to take these pictures. So being prepared to do these types of photographs is crucial. So again, tripod, great lens, usually a wide, and then I go handheld at a higher ISO to take all the detail photos. But I have an assistant. That assistant holds that GL1 and gives me the illumination that I need to get me that commercial look in these photographs. If I was using flash, the ambiance, the color in the photos, that real beautiful vibe, it all gets washed away once you use flash. Okay, so this was a daylight wedding that I just did. That was actually one of the few times, if you go back, that I actually had to use flash because I had to overpower the sunlight behind the flowers. Again, I wanted to show you just an array of different style shots. Some of the room shots we give to the vendors and to some of these blogs have the couples in them. Some do not. Anything that goes on there, we hold an extreme importance to. We really, really try to capture this stuff beautifully. And like Jerry said too, he said a lot that I was going to say. We're food photographers, we're flower photographers, we're decor photographers, people photographers. We do so much. This is backlit with that light. This wedding is, I think it was 850 people at the Waldorf. I gotta come through for these people, right? And you gotta use the right tools, you gotta keep it simple, but you also have to make sure that you get these types of photographs can sing. I mean, this type of photograph can book you a lot of work, just one if it's done right. I'm lucky enough to do some celebrity stuff. guy you might know, Donald Trump, his daughter got married. I have no opinion towards politics at this point, but this is some photographs from their wedding that I thought I would share with you guys. It was a really beautiful wedding at their golf club. This was a most recent wedding that we did for about 700 people at the new Ziegfeld Ballroom here in Manhattan. We get wide shots, close-ups. I used all different lenses. I would say the 3 lenses we use the most for these types of pictures are 14 millimeter lens, which is obviously a wide angle lens, a 50 millimeter lens for close-ups, usually creating the small depth of field for close-up shots, creating some drama. And then I use an 85 millimeter lens as well. Those 3 lenses, a 50, 85, and a wide angle lens for these types of photographs. We did a wedding recently at Rockefeller Center, they took over the entire ice skating rink. This was about 1,000 people. And it's these types of weddings that when I started, I wasn't doing all of these. And by building up my portfolio and by doing great work for the vendors and for the party planners, the last 3 weddings that you saw are all from the exact same party planner. Now, the client still has to come in. You still have to book them and sell them. But I'm getting that lead because I continuously do consistent, high-quality work and deliver it to these party planners all the time. They get what they want. They have what they want for social media. This was a wedding, this was a mitzvah about 3 months ago in California. We fly all over the world, really, to do events. Usually I'm doing a wedding in Santa Barbara next weekend. And the reason why people don't hire somebody in Santa Barbara is because these planners see what we do. They see the quality of the work and how consistent it is. They see the comments from the people on our Instagram page, our Facebook page, et cetera, and they really want to be a part of that and see what we do. The details are really what sing for these people. So on top of everything else that we do, guys, connecting with your vendors, which is the reason why I'm here, which is the reason why I'm doing this program, I want to teach you guys a little bit on how to connect more with the vendors. So let's talk about why these people would recommend you. You can't just dress in a nice suit, beautiful dress, walk into their office and say, hey, hire me. That's not going to happen. And so 1, reputation, right? Any way to convey that reputation that you have, even if it's 1 or 2 clients, get those clients to give you a testimonial. Okay, we get lazy, right? Our studio does, let's say, 200 weddings a year. I try to get a testimonial from every single person that comes in and put it on my website. Think about how easy that is. You have a beautiful client, you did a great job for them. Instead of just delivering their pictures, have them work for you a little bit. Say, do me a favor, please, send me an email, give me a real personal testimonial. You can even tell them what to write half the time and help them, but have these things so if you're somebody who's starting in the business and you got the chops, when you walk into a venue, when you walk into a meeting with a party planner and introduce yourself, you have something to show them other than just a few pictures on your iPad. Say, you know what, this is a wedding I just did, and you know what, here's the testimonial. And let them read a little bit about you. It just gets your beak wet a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get it's a little bit more than just showing them beautiful pictures. Your experience, I hate resumes, okay? Tell them about your experience. Client comes in, a party planner comes in, explain to them how long you've been working in the business, the types of businesses you've worked in even before you were a photographer. Let them feel like if they bring a client to you, read the bottom line there, you're a reflection of them and their business, okay? They're doing you a favor. If they're going to recommend you for a party or for an event, think about what that does for their business, how vulnerable that leaves them, right? Think about it from the other side of the coin. And that'll teach you on how to prepare for that meeting a little bit better, give you a little bit more confidence going in, knowing that you've organized yourself in a way that not only shows your talent, not only shows the beautiful work that you do, but it gives them a sense, again, back to the beginning, on your story and your reputation and how much experience you have. So when they call that client and say, I have this new photographer, his name's Adam Frank. He hasn't done many weddings for people that I know, but you know what? He's an unbelievable photographer, and I know that once you meet him, you'll love him. He's been shooting for X amount of years, et cetera. Think Think of it from their perspective, a little bit more from your perspective. The service that you provide, okay? What are you doing differently than everybody else? And so this goes back to like digital files. Most photographers these days put all their digital files on a drive and say, okay, thank you very much. I hate that. I want to see my clients through a journey. I want to deliver an album and prints to them 6 months, 8 months, to the parents, 2 years after the wedding. That's how we make our money. It really is. On top of that, we have a staff. Because we've sold so many albums, I was able to hire and print, and we have that production business. It allows me to grow the business. My dad at one point had 20 people working in our studio. Times have changed. I'm competing with all of you now. We were only competing with 3, 4 studios back then. And so now we have 12 people in the studio. Half of those people are in my office for production. Think about what that means. Somebody comes in from a photographer downtown in Chelsea. They have 2 people that work for them. And they say, yep, you come in, you pay us $10,000, and we give you all the files. And if you need anything, let us know. For social media, they don't ask. Here's all the files. Me, I sit down with my clients and I say, listen, the quality is the most important thing that we do here. We've been in business for 77 years. There is a reason for it. When you come into my office, we want to take you on a journey. The wedding itself is the easiest part of what we do. First, foremost, pre-production, right? How do we help our clients prepare for a wedding, right? Like, what are the things that we talk to them about? Think about what a client or prospective client would say to their husband or their fiance, when they walk out. Wow, did they just say that they help us plan the party and help us with our schedule and help us by recommending different florists, hairstylists, et cetera, and make us a shot list? Is that something that the last guy, am I missing something? Why would they do that? And did they also say that after the wedding, 6 months after the wedding, 3 months after the wedding, when we come back into their studio, time that they do not charge for, that they'll actually sit with us, review the 1,500 images or 800 images, whatever it may be, and help us pick the best photos for our album, and then retouch the photos, and then on top of that, if we order 50 extra pictures in the album and pay for it, they'll get us a 16 by 20 frame photo that they will frame. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? There's a service that we are giving to them that is so unique that is why people that are, I don't want to say lazy, but people come into your office looking for beautiful pictures. That's it. It isn't until you explain your service, show your experience, and tell them what we do and what we live to do and what we're passionate about, that they're like, oh, okay, there's a little bit more to this than I thought. And so the $10,000 that they were paying the other guy for basically coming to the wedding for 10 hours and shooting, for me, the 15 grand now seems cheap. Oh my God, for 15 grand, I'm getting an album, I'm getting an engagement shoot, I'm getting retouching, I'm getting a planner basically before the wedding. These are all things that we were able to grow and realize had a lot of potential to grow the business, and they've been proven to do so. So again, I am lucky to be in a situation where I kind of went in where there were clients there. But you gotta take day by day, step by step, and build that business slowly. And yeah, have a freelance retoucher accompany you so that, if you're meeting somebody in your apartment, there's a guy there on the computer retouching all your photos for you. It says something to you that you care that much to just not go to their wedding, take a bunch of pictures, put it on a hard drive and say, okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that type of service, any type of service that you can offer above what is typical, above what your competitors are offering, to me is a huge value for somebody. And you gotta tell them that. Somebody says, why are you so expensive? And the reason, I explain it exactly how I just told you, explain the service that we provide, and they say, okay, I understand. It's still expensive, but I understand. So the next thing is personality, okay? I can't hire anybody that doesn't have a good personality. That is half of the battle these days, okay? If you're going to be a great photographer, you have to break through, you have to connect, you have to be funny, you have to walk in with a smile on your face, say hello to all the bridesmaids, introduce yourself to the parents, and the key, which I don't have behind me, which it comes to me, is a key for me is I never forget a name the day of the wedding. You catch me 30 minutes after a wedding, I know nobody's name. If you speak to me the day of the wedding, I could literally tell you the little nephew, the 3-year-old who's crying for the last 3 hours, I'll tell you his name. It is so important to make the experience for these clients personal, okay? So when you're getting a photo together and organizing a family portrait, think about the difference between being like, Dad, Mom, let me get all the sisters, let me get the cousins, you guys. Okay, I don't do that. I really don't do that. And if you need a list, which we have as well, you make a shot list. I say, John, Judy, Brian, let's go. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference to their ear when they hear their names. They're like, wow, these guys, and literally, I've been in this business a long time. I can't tell you how many countless times you hear people in the background, or like the uncle who shows up like, for the last family picture because the family thinks they have to invite him for photos. Be like, oh my God, these guys really know what they're doing. That's a constant thing in my ear. I never want a party where I don't feel like we're doing that type, or getting that type of reaction. So personality with your staff, your assistants. My assistant's been with me for 12 years. I pay him more than any assistant that I know, and for only good reasons. He is amazing for me. He knows exactly what I'm thinking when I'm thinking. I turn my hand, I have the lens that I want in my hand. He knows how to use all my equipment. That's check one. Check two is, when I have a portrait with 25 people in it, which is typical for me at a wedding, he's going to the men, straightening out the bow ties, fixing the pocket squares. If there's a woman sitting where like her sock is showing, I mean, these are things that I don't even see. He's going to each one of these people and just like a little stylist, like fixing them up really quick. Those are the types of people that you really need. And you know what? If you've been using somebody and you don't, and they're decent with your equipment and they don't do anything else, get somebody else. Okay, train more people. Motivate to get people next to you that represent you really well. And then there's talent. That is the biggest thing for me. It is the hardest thing for me. Again, 17 years in the business. I only have 5 photographers in addition to my dad and I now. It is almost impossible, especially in a city now. If anybody is amazingly talented here, please call me, like I said, tomorrow. We're constantly looking for great photographers, constantly. It's impossible. And we're in New York City, and it's kind of crazy, and we've reached out multiple ways. So hold on to that talent. Pay them well. If you're able to use more people, an assistant, if he's perfect and you find them, really, really do the right things to maintain the talent, to harbor that talent, to keep that talent that you have. It'll only pay you back in the long run. So I want to show you how we structure our technology assets, okay? So let's start from scratch. So the website, okay? It's obvious. Having a good website is obviously important. The most important thing that I learned is when I went out, I mean, you got to think about this. I've been, 77 years. Every time we change something, it's like people hold their breath. It's a big deal. Like, you've been in business so long, why change certain things? I knew that we had to improve our website and actually take our logo, which was one of the biggest decisions I made about 10 years ago. Our logo was my grandfather's signature, okay, his actual signature. And it was amazing, and his signature's It's awesome. It's on our doors still. It's on a lot of materials that we have. But it just needed, when you put it on social media files, it just didn't look 2015. You know what I mean? When I changed it, just didn't look like it should. And so we went ahead and changed the logo to just be a little bit more simple. But we spent a lot of money on our website. A lot, and for only good reason. You want to set up a website that has a base that you can grow on, that has legs, that you start with a design, a beautiful look, a clean look where people can focus on your photos, that don't get distracted, and you can build upon that look. But my point is, it's worth spending the money on these types of things. These things that represent you, it's worth spending the money on. When you go into our website, what I do is I'm constantly changing our website to react to our clients' questions. So how many times, I don't know how many of you work for studios or have other photographers. For me, people call the studio and say, hi, we're getting married at Glen Oaks Country Club in Long Island. We're having 250 people. Can we make an appointment? Can you tell me a little bit about your process? I go into everything we've been talking about. I also say we have 5 photographers, pretty much, that work full-time for the studio. Oh, well, can I see their work? Okay. Originally, my website just had galleries, right? So it would say Pierre Hotel wedding, Plaza Hotel wedding, Glen Oaks Country Club wedding. It didn't have people's names. It didn't connect to anybody. And nobody really could say, oh, this Felix did, and this Leslie did, and this Anton did. And over the course of the last few years, because every single person has asked that question when they call, we change it. And so now we have a gallery of all of our photographers. People can see their names. If you look on the bottom of the screen, there's destination weddings, birthdays, bar and bat mitzvahs, bridal showers, video, portraits, engagements. We really started getting specific because you know what? I was tired of being like, oh yeah, I'll send you a link. How many times do you say, oh yeah, let me go back to my portfolio and send you a link? I hate that. I want to put everything that people ask for on my website. When you go into my portfolio, you see a little bit about me, you read my bio, and then you see on top, you have weddings, engagements, bar and bat mitzvahs, corporate, portraits. You can actually go through literally 20 to 30 weddings that I update every single week. That I have something that I want to share from a different venue. That's another thing. You shoot multiple venues. Don't have 7 weddings from the same exact location. Get as much up there as possible. You want clients from Brooklyn? Put locations from Brooklyn, et cetera, et cetera. So you can click on these. They expand into a gallery. When you see the gallery, now look on the bottom. This is all SEO. You can connect to the Plaza Hotel's website. You can click on any of those photographers and see their gallery. You can click on the event designer's website and obviously click on the United States of America's website. But no, so I have the country up there. And then if you guys want to take a peek, I put my Fred Marcus logo up here, my Fred Marcus domain. Please go on our website, please take a look. Contact me if you have any questions, fredmarcus.com. If you have great photographs, great photographers, please come in and see us. So first you have, the first asset is your website. Now we take advantage of technology in the form of social media, which we're all still learning, we're all still growing and evolving, and I am definitely not an expert at this, but in the last year, we went from about 4,000 followers on Instagram to 10.3 thousand followers on Instagram, and we're growing by about 100 followers, I would say, every 3-4 weeks, which is a really cool thing. I mean, I think it's a fun thing. I don't base it on our success. I don't base the amount of followers to how many weddings we get, but it is nice to see that people are following along and following what we do. We get messages all the time. So what we do is once you pass 10,000 followers, I don't know if you know this, but once you pass 10,000 followers, you can start taking advantage of a lot of things that Instagram offers that maybe you didn't know before. So if you look under our bio there with our website, there's a thing called live and blog, and you can actually expand that section to whatever it is that you want. So we have actually like behind the scenes live videos under live. So every weekend that I'm shooting, I take 2 or 3 videos. I don't spend hours doing this. I may photograph videotape the room or the first dance, or if like the crowd's going bananas, I'll take a 15-second video and tag the vendors and put it up. That's the live portion. And then there's the blog. The blog connects with my blog on the website. So here you have Instagram posts, you'll see how many followers there are, and then in addition to that, you'll see the venue, the wedding planners, the florals, and we tag all those people. Now, make it easy for yourself. Before you do an event, before you do a shoot, Lindsay, you're really getting called out a lot. You shouldn't sit in the front row. If Lindsay does a commercial shoot and there's a makeup artist, a hairstylist, the lighting director, the art director, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, these are all people that, form a relationship with them. And this Instagram, as crazy as it sounds, as silly as we all thought it was, it's a real thing. I mean, bar none, this is the real deal. And so promote your work the right way. All my photographs have logos in the same exact place. They're all cropped properly. They're the best photos, or I don't say the best photo, but they're the best photos from some event, each event that we have. And then we have these hashtags that really work well below. So really explore that and go to my page, copy my hashtags. It doesn't matter. It's done. That's what we all do. We all learn from one another. I do Instagram stories, like I just told you, those live videos. 2 weekends ago, we were in Miami for a wedding, and the client had Diana Ross, Usher, and Mark Ronson as the DJ for, like Uptown Funk, that song. He did that song. And it was crazy. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And so we tag all these people. In this particular post, it has the date, the party planner who's from London, the hotel we stayed in. And after I posted this, I get a message from the Faena, which is a beautiful hotel in Miami Beach, and they say, listen, I know you guys are the photographers from the wedding. Please share with us all the photos from the wedding so we can get you on our Instagram page and put you on our website, whatever. That is the reason why you do this. I don't do this because I really don't, because it's cool or, it's great, Usher is fantastic, whatever. It's that I hope to get an email from whoever you're tagging saying, hey, let me promote your work. Let me take those images from the wedding and share them on our website. And that's why you do it. It's not for any other reason, in my opinion. From Instagram, we go to Facebook. And I intentionally put the same wedding on all of these slides so that you guys can see how it all connects. I'm structuring the assets. So this is Nick and Laura's wedding. Nick and Laura's wedding was the one at the Faena Hotel. It had the Usher video in it. It's on our Instagram page. We have Swipe Up. I think that's the next one. I'm sorry, then it goes to the blog. This is the same wedding on our blog that's connected to the Instagram page, that's connected to the Facebook page, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a structure. This one on the right is the exact same wedding. What we do is we put, you can embed now a link on your live stories. And so what we did was we put a photograph here and it says swipe up for more photographs from the wedding. You swipe up and it connects you right to this page, straight to the blog. So it's just structuring all these assets and having them work together. And if you really start doing this every single job, and it doesn't matter what kind of job it is, it could be a headshot for all I care. It doesn't matter, but when you start building this sort of, web is a great word for this web of all of these valuable assets, you really start seeing people react to them. So I did a video as well for Instagram. I just got it today. Let me show you, I think it's like 30 seconds. This is from the same wedding. That's actually the first cut of the video. We're actually going to improve it, but I literally got it sent to me just for you guys this morning to add to this. So that will go on. So think about how much work we're doing after the wedding just to promote what we do. We obviously get the go-ahead from our clients. We don't just put this stuff up without their approval, but all my contracts, they sign off on it. If they have a stipulation, we sign off. No matter what, we always get approval from them. So now once the wedding is done, right? So that Miami wedding is finished. Now there's more work to be done. And people say, well, what do you do during the week, right? Don't you love that? When people are like, what do you do during the week? Wedding photographers. It's like, dude, like Monday through Friday is the worst. Saturdays and Sundays are fun, So basically, we go on, I love, you guys know Smug Mug? You know Smug Mug? I love Smug Mug, okay? I think this is maybe the best deal in the business, okay, for anybody, even personal work. So I think it's $250 a year, okay, not a month, a year, and it will store unlimited amounts of storage for you, for any size files. I don't think it saves RAWs, but JPEG files, PSDs, I think, and videos. And so we now take that structure, those assets that we showed you before with the florist, the bridal gown designer, the venue, the party planner, the videographer, which we typically are, but if it's another video, I give them credit. We now send a link of not all the photos, all of the photos specified to whoever it is. So if it's the dress designer, we pick our favorite 20 photos with the dress. I send it to them. They then have the ability to download the photographs and promote that on their website, so and so forth. I only have, I think, 10 minutes left, so I'm going to speed a little bit. I had these links connected. If you guys want to email me, I'm happy to send you some of these so you can see. But these are the way the vendors receive their links. They click on the links, and each of them, if you can see, each of these is from a different website. I'm sorry, from a different event. They go on, they pull their flower photos. So every single photo, the band, if there's video from the band, we give it to them so that every single one of these vendors now takes our content and attaches it to the structure of their assets and gets it out there into the world. And now we look like we're really, really busy, which we are. But if it's just from us, it's not enough. Watermarking. A lot of people say, do I watermark photos? Do I not watermark photos? We do watermark photos. I will remove a watermark if I know that the vendor is obviously going to promote us with a link and attach to our website, et cetera. But at first, we deliver everything with our logo on them. Make sure that the images are color corrected, are edited, are sharp. Give them less. Less is more always. Give them less than more, okay? I hate, you guys know that this happens all the time. When you give somebody like 20 photos from a wedding, and they always pick like your last select to post on their Instagram. It's like, oh, I knew I should. And that's your least favorite. Just put the stuff that you like the best. Don't put the stuff that you think that they're going to like, because when it goes up there and that's like your last one that you should or shouldn't have put in, that's the one that they always use. So video marketing, as I just showed you, we did something from this wedding that I just shot. Video is different. I always say to my clients that like, should we use you for video or should we do a video at all? And I say, well, you can't hear the photos speak. You can't, you don't, stills are one thing. It's a moment in time. It may have more value to you, but you really are spending so much money and so much stress organizing a wedding. Of course you should have a video. You can watch it, show it to the kids, et cetera. We use the videos for video marketing all the time, and it really allows your clients to see your shooting and your personality. This was a video that I got asked to shoot. A dress designer, Inez De Santo, is a famous wedding designer, and I got asked to come for Grace Ormond, an event, and do a video. I used to be a film major. I haven't done video in a long time, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go there with my D5. Let me shoot some video. I put this together on my home computer, sent it to them, and they promoted it. This is a 30-second clip. Then the next day, bam, they put it on their website. It was on Grace Ormond. Inez De Santo put it on theirs. I think they have tens of thousands of followers. We're credited. It's great. I mean, that's how this stuff works. But think about that video. The video is 25 seconds, but people see it. Thousands of people see it. This was like the first day. I think there were like 2,168 views. I mean, that's a lot more than are seeing it on my Facebook page. Vimeo we use for all our for all our video needs, and we work Vimeo through our social media designs. Carrots and Cake, anybody ever heard of that blog? That's a great blog to look at. Happen to be friends with the woman who created it. Carrots and Cake, for anybody who's starting in the business and wants to share their work to a blog that really isn't an editorial blog. What they do is they put your page up and the public can vote on their favorite photographs, and then underneath each real wedding that you have to get accepted, they give all the vendors. They have a long-term play to cash in on this business, but for now, it is a real, beautiful website that highlights not only your studio. This is like the page where you see how many likes we have. You should look into it. It's called Carrots and Cake, and underneath each event, you see literally every single vendor and they can connect to us, and we've actually booked a lot of weddings through this portal. So it's Carrots and Cake. Thought that would be a good tip. And then I'm gonna leave you with this, and I'm happy to take, I think I have a few minutes. I'm happy to take any questions that you guys have after this, but my dad sent this to me the other day. Whoa, it's getting hot in here. So my dad sent this to me the other day, and it had nothing to do with this program, But let's like read this together because honestly, I printed this out and framed it in my office already. Okay, I printed it out and framed it yesterday. And this will humble us all, okay? A customer is the most important visitor on our premises. They are not dependent on us, we are dependent on them. They are not an interruption of our work, they are the purpose of it. They are not an outsider of our business, they are part of it. And we are not doing them a favor by serving them. They are doing us a favor by giving us the opportunity to do so. And I think if you ride that wave every day of your life in business, I think you'll all be okay. So that's my time, but if you have any questions at all, I'm here to take. Does anybody have any questions? Sir. Is questions okay? 5 minutes, okay.
Technical questions. When you photograph the vehicle,
Yes.
you light it from a low height.
Yes.
Are you running around quickly so it register?
So the question was, when I do my decoration shots, the large room shots, am I running around with the LED light that I showed you, the GL1 hot light? The answer is no. The beam of the light is strong enough that you can actually position the hood as a spotlight, and it just gives me enough detail on each table that changes the photo. So anybody who has a light like that, doesn't have to be mine, but anybody who has a light like that, look at your before and after photos just by, so let's say, I'll help you out a little bit with you asked what my settings were. So usually I set the camera at 100 ISO, depending on how much time I have. So if I have 5 minutes, I'm usually at like 800 ISO. But if I have 15, 20 minutes, I'm at 100 ISO, giving me the clearest picture possible. And I set my f-stop, usually if it's a big wide room and I want to get the whole room in focus, usually like f16, f22. And my assistant or myself takes the light, puts it on full power, and we actually paint in every table quickly. Boom, 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 boom. When you compare one photo without it and one photo with it, it's sort of a metaphor for what I'm talking about today. It takes no effort really whatsoever, and the finished product is that much better, that much better. Here's my information, guys. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, the studio. All right, guys, well, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Lindsay, thank you. B&H, thank you. Lexar, thank you.